I'm Carly Steele here at South by Southwest in partnership with Kinolime, talking to some of the festival's top storytellers all about their filmmaking process and how they broke into the industry. Let's make movies together. I have so many questions for you. Okay. First off, congratulations on your documentary.
Thank you.
With William Shatner, the one and only William Shatner. Many have tried, many have failed. How did you convince him to let you do this?
You know, it was interesting. The process was actually through Legion M, which is the producer of this, along with Exhibited Pictures, my company. But they, introduced me to Bill and organized the lunch. It was just really sort of very organic. I knew that he had been approached many times by documentary filmmakers before and had always basically historically said no. And but we had a wonderful lunch, and I was totally prepared to pitch the approach and the concept for the doc. But instead he just asked me a ton of questions about what I believe and who I am and where I came from, and just philosophical questions about life. And I think we had a really great sort of connection. And by the end of lunch, basically he said, "When do we start?"
Oh my God, that's impressive. So what was the focus of the doc? What was the story that you really wanted to tell?
Well, for me, really, it's the way that I see the film is kind of a distillation of the essence of what Bill Shatner is about now after 91 years on this planet. And so it has some lessons, but really it's almost kind of a sort of a full circle journey in the sense that he is the person that you associate with boldly going, with exploring, with going into the unknown. And what does he want to do when he dies? He's going to have a redwood tree planted over his ashes. Wow. So this guy who goes, who's Captain Kirk, the ultimate sort of space explorer, what does he want to do? He wants to come back and be rooted in this earth. And so there's a huge sort of an environmental message to the film, which I think is going to resonate with people.
You did this independently, so how did you go about getting the financing and raising the money?
Well, that's all Legion M. They they've been working. I mean, they have a legion of fans now, and they've had that for a long time. But what's unique about this is that it is what they call fan first equity financing. So it's not crowdfunding. The fans got a chance to essentially get a share of the film, and they're going to be able to participate in the profits.
That's epic.
So it is.
I feel like this is the future. That's kind of like Kinolime does it in a different way with scripts. So basically you can submit your script as a writer, and then people can read it and vote it up or down. And the ones that are voted to the top, the film finance arm of the company, they'll actually make those films, which is really cool. What do you think of that model?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds in a way sort of really similar, but I mean, this idea that you can sort of build a community and get them involved, and being a part of that decision-making process, getting people to participate in that way, I think is really exciting for sure.
What were some of the biggest challenges for you in making this documentary?
Well, it was, I mean, the turnaround was super fast, and when you're dealing with someone like Shatner with this humongous filmography, the research that I had to do in a very short amount of time was really, really intense. But thankfully I had a very clear structure and way that I wanted to approach the film, which helped a lot in the end. I mean, I'm a big believer. I mean, look, my background is in dramatic writing, so structure for me is essential. That in documentary filmmaking you can have a structure and then things change over time, but I still believe that you have to have a very clear idea of where you're going, how you're going to, go about doing things, and a very clear structure in mind when you start the project, because it's going to save you just a ton of time. But that was the main challenge, is preparing for it in such a short amount of time, and then of course the post-production process is also quite intense, as my producing partner Carrie would tell you. It's a lot of work.
And so you're here at South by Southwest. You're showing the film here.
Yep.
When is your premiere?
It's coming up. It's on Thursday, March 16th.
What do you hope to happen here at South by Southwest?
This is not our first time here. We started the first film that we premiered. Actually, it was our first film at Exhibited Pictures, The People vs. George Lucas, in 2010. And then we had another one here in 2014 called Duck of the Dead. So it's been a while since we've been to South by. We've had many other films in between, that went to Sundance several times and other big festivals. But it's super cool to be back here. We're going to be at the Paramount, 1,100 seats. Bill Shatner is going to be there. Weather permitting, he's going to show up on a horse.
Oh my God.
Weather permitting, although there seems to be some questionable weather in the forecast for Thursday. But we're really hoping for obviously a warm sort of reaction from the crowd. It's not the documentary that you would expect about Shatner. I think it's going to take people by surprise. It's very heartfelt, very sort of up close and personal, quite dark at times. It's almost like your grandfather just basically telling you, I don't have a whole lot of time left. And these are the things that matter to me. So that's really kind of what it's about.
Did he give you access to everything you wanted? Like, what was it like collaborating
He's
with
been
him?
completely hands-off.
Really?
He has not even watched the film.
Oh
That's
But is he going to watch it on Thursday?
I don't think so.
Why not?
Think so. Well, if you think about it, right? This is a film about you, about your life. It carries a lot of emotional weight. He's had his family watch it. Yeah. He's had his assistant watch it. But I understand, like if you're in a house with 1,000 people and you're watching yourself, for a guy who actually says he doesn't like to watch himself, it's a little bit, I understand how he feels, but I hope that he'll eventually get to watch it maybe by himself, in secret.
Yeah, that's probably the way to go. You don't, if there's something he has an issue with, you don't want it to be with 1,000 people. Bill Shatner is someone who probably would just say something right there and then.
Yeah, probably, but obviously I made the film
with love.
With him in mind, and I do think that I like to think that he would like the film.
Yeah.
I know that the echoes from his family and his assistant are very good, so I think he probably feels reassured about that.
Amazing. Now you're a screenwriter too.
Yeah.
So do you remember the first ever screenplay you sold or got made?
Well, no. The reason I am doing what I'm doing now is because I went to NYU for dramatic writing, and I wrote a bunch of really big sort of scripts that got optioned a few times, but never produced.
Right.
And so after graduation, I decided I'm going to carve my own path because I'm not going to be, I don't want to be in this position of having people tell me what they're going to make or not make.
Right.
I'm going to sort of force my hand and create my own sort of fate, if you will. So the first couple of films that I made before, we formed Exhibited Pictures were very small docs, but they got just enough attention, to get me the next project, and I was able to experience the festival circuit and started to get a feel for that. But you fast forward to today, now I've made 11 feature docs, and it's been quite a ride. It's never easy, every film you get it financed in a different way, but I feel really blessed that, one, we're a great team, and I obviously am very passionate about the films that I make. I can honestly say there's nothing that I've made that I could not be 100% behind.
Well, lastly, what would you like audiences to take away from this film, and what would you like Bill Shatner, when he does finally watch it, to take away from this film?
I think that there's a lot of life lessons in the film. I think, as I've said earlier, there's definitely a very big sort of environmental message. For him, going to space was, mind-altering. It was completely, this realization that we're on this tiny little speck of dust in the universe, and that this is life. And you look around, you look above, and it's darkness, this sort of endless darkness. So to care for the environment is one thing, to care for each other, to be here and do worthwhile things while we can. I think it has a lot of positive messages, and I think we hear so much negativity. We have, in the last few years. It would be nice, to think about this idea that we're all human. We're all here for a very limited amount of time. Can we at least try to, make that time easier and nicer for everybody else around us? I don't know why it's so difficult.
I don't know either, but that was beautifully said. Thank you so much, and thank you for taking the time out of your busy festival schedule to chat with us. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, likewise. Thank you.